green flag flying and get this 2 hours of Sebring underway.
We'll be finishing under lights, or well, lights of the cars, I should say.
Yeah.
Will be night time when we cross the line for the finish.
Here we go then. The guys slowly on the pit limiter. And, oh, bit of a jump there as they come up towards the line.
Someone's done a bit of a burnout.
And away they go now. Cheerios got a good start, but from the inside there, the Audi with a fantastic start. But it looks like it might be a 1-2 for the two Porsche cars.
Oh!
They were slap outside on the first corner. Bruno Spano into second position. He's got dived up the inside, and there's a bit of contact there. Yeah, he's gone off down, way down.
He's just gone very wide.
Oh, speaking of very wide,
Bruno's off. Championship contenders collide.
Here they go into the hairpin now. Round the outside for the Audi. Can he make that work from there? I'll doubt it. And no, unfortunately for him, he cannot. Let's go down to the GTs and see what has gone on down there. It looks like the Aston's actually been jumped by Tanguy van der Weege. And the Aston's into second, Sven Gielhout, and then Philip Holland is in third.
It seemed to be quite orderly, so it doesn't seem like too many major incidents has happened. I think that Repsol racing car, Repsol Swingle racing, at the back there may have gotten tangled up a little bit. However, he's actually... Oh, they're going at it again!
Yeah, more contact between these two championship rivals here. Bruno Spano's back in front to lead a C-Force Racing 1-2. But Stwerker...
What does Mark have to say about it?
Yeah, here we go. Up the inside is Sunset Bend, and he's got it done, but on the cutback... No, unfortunately, can't quite get that done. So, as we cross the line for the first time... Jesus, I think that is... Chirinos is leading the way. Mark Stwerker in second, and then Bruno Spano is down in third.
Bruno is not going to be happy about that through all the contact that they just gave each other on lap one, so I think he'll be willing to, or determined to get that back and assert his dominance in the championship, as he can just really walk this race, to be honest, and still walk away with the championship, but he's probably going to want to finish on track in front of Mark Stewart and really try and assert that he was the champion this season.
Yeah, and here is the picture in GTE. Tanguy van der Weege is leading the way from Sven Gielhout, and then Philip Holland is in third.
Both of them pulling away quite a fair bit from the rest of the pack.
Yeah. Oh, bit of a dive here going on. Grimminger's getting dived.
Oh, there is contact.
Porsche was ahead for a moment, but picking the place up again. Now Alvarez is under pressure. Carlos Brown. Oh, he has got through. Oh, yellow flag there. Oh, Holland's been off. Volland, I mean, sorry. But Philip Volland has been off the road, and so has...
Oh, he's off again! Oh, they've touched. He's touched with is that stand? Yes, it is. Alves is also through. He's actually in the contention for the championship, and he's not really gotten off to the best. Is that an LMP1 car?
Yeah, Gonzalez.
Pulled off to the side.
Gonzalez
what's going on there?
The road. I'm not really sure what's happened, but Konstantin Grimminger's now gained 3 positions. He got a great start. One of those is LMP1, and LMP1's going to try and come through on both of these guys. Oh my goodness! Oh. And he's dived late, 3 wide. Dear me, that could have been real issues there for both of those guys, but
issues for the whole pack if that LMP1 had gotten caught up with the front two. Oh my lord.
They're still running side by side. The Porsche's going to try and hang it around the outside at the first turn, but that is going to be extremely difficult. He's surely not going to be able to manage that one, and he hasn't so far. Oh, dive.
He's going to go for a dive. Thinks better of it.
Josef Gonzalez got a bit wide again, but this backpack's really starting to develop here.
Or you can almost throw a blanket over before him.
Yeah.
going to go into the hairpin. There is going to be a move from the Repsol, or at least a look.
Oh,
He is down there. Seemed to be quite
Can he
clean
get it
compared
done?
to their last attempt. He's not
Still
going to
side
make it
by
that
side.
far, though.
I don't think so.
I think the Aston is just going to edge him.
Yeah. and-
He does so.
Oh, there was a hit there.
Oh,
Give
he's
him a
hit him in the
on.
back. Alves around.
Spins around.
And he's going to be
all the way
doing,
down.
he's going to be frolicking in the paddock, basically, until he can find which way heading. Boiland off again! Tagging the Aston in the rear.
Real issues there.
Your championship leader actually tagged in the rear. By second in the championship, I've just realised. Is definitely a issue of getting the elbows out.
Yeah, and the battle for the lead's going on as well up there. Around the outside for Jill Howe, a bit of a slide on.
I think he might have bumped him.
Yeah, maybe a bit of contact in there.
Bit of bump and run from NASCAR. We are in America.
We are, after all. Down the inside again, maybe for Jill Howe. Here he goes in the Aston.
Oh, he is there. Pretty good to move into this.
Not quite.
Gonna switch aggressively. We can get a run out of here into the hairpin though. Could be a viable option. We can just tuck in. I think he might be too far back. I don't know how the straight line speed is on these new cars. He's gonna go for a peak. He's gonna slot back in though.
Yeah, he can't get the move done there. We're just going to have a look up into LMP1 for a second because Mark Schwartzer is now leading the race.
Leading!
We've missed that totally. Here's Kirinos in second for C-Force, and then Bruno Spano is in third. Gonzalez, after those issues, is now about 40 seconds down in fourth in that class. But BT is looking a lot closer at the moment with these two battling in the front, and then the two Astons and Volland battling for third with the Teglas, who we haven't spoken about so far, in the Repsol car, along with his Repsol teammate Alvarez, are both trying to catch up to that battle as well. So it looks like we're going to get most of our entertainment from the GT race in this.
If they do converge, my worry is what happens when the LMP cars come to get them. And if they catch them on a very awkward point in the circuit, trying to overtake 5 GTE cars through a very thin part of the track could be somewhat of a challenge and could end in disaster.
Yeah, we don't want to see those incidents happen, but they could well do. It's quite a narrow circuit, and these guys are going to have to be patient if they're really going to, if they're going to survive in this race, mainly. There's going to be a lot of lappery in 2 hours. They're going to have to go past maybe at least 10 times, I would expect.
20 seconds on a lap. I think we should expect some of them to be lapped in maybe next lap or this lap.
Well, there's a gap of 1:14 to the lead of GTE right now, and maybe on this lap actually, because actually almost definitely on this lap, because the two
both
Repsol
of them
cars,
though.
yeah, they're both off there.
Oddly enough, those are Mark's teammates
Yeah, so they're not
for
going
the
to
GTE category.
they're not going to give him too much grief as he goes past. You wouldn't expect, but
Oh, is that an
Well,
incident up ahead?
oh, yeah.
They are both off. And they've actually lost a fair amount of time. Mark is probably going to catch him on this lap, and I think he might catch him at a very awkward point.
oh, here we go.
There are his teammates. He pulls off to the side for it. Will the Alves pull over?
No, he's given it a bit of room there, and finally goes through. This is where the real race starts. Oh, dear me.
He's given him a flash in a bit of fit of anger, I would assume.
Yeah, that was not too great for those guys, but the leader seems to be doing alright.
Mark was very happy with the first 2 overtakes,
Yes.
as you'd expect.
C-Force finally a little bit more difficult, funny enough, which is...
And they both go just trying to overtake the main pack just on the back straight. And they both do so.
Yeah. That'll go down GT and a bit more contact there between
Porsches again.
And Alvarez, who got spun around earlier, so don't forget he's probably got a little bit of pace over these guys. Side by side
Alvarez
down straight.
are going to go side by side.
Oh,
There's a ball on the track on the right, and he is going to get him around the outside.
Wow, that's a very impressive overtake. And then he has to cover him off on the inside after the corner as well, which is a very impressive move there.
You've got to trust that that person doesn't outbrake you when you go to cover that off, or else you are going to end up in that wall and have that person's front bumper inserted into your diffuser, which obviously isn't the ideal situation. He's gone off, actually. Philip Boland. Is he? Oh, I thought he was sending a move then.
Yeah, that... Oh, contact!
He is off!
Oh,
he's into the wall, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he hit the wall there.
How bad is that damage going to be?
Oh, it doesn't
How
look
bent
too
is
bad.
that steering? We'll find out through the next few braking zones. Doesn't look too bad. He seems to have it under control. That's definitely confidence hurting though. He's going to need a few laps to get that back. With Laszlo currently on the back of him. He's gone off again. There it is. He's just kind of throwing it away at this point, really, with all the off-tracks he's getting. I don't believe he's had too much practice during his second in the championship, and, well, that's not really showing. Those GT E-cars don't look too far off the LMP ones. They're only just been lapped. Oh,
Yeah,
here goes the Porsche.
Here we go, down the inside again. Bit more contact, bit more bumping.
Carlos and Alves. Alves just done, I believe it was Philip around the outside, and he's going to get Carlos the championship leader on
That's
the
very
end
impressive.
of the same lap.
Yeah, that was two really impressive overtakes in the same lap there, which is pretty
Right, he's
remarkable
on
stuff.
fire.
Yeah, he is at the moment.
He's going to have to do a lot though to catch up to Stan and Sven.
Yeah, there's Constantine.
10 seconds up the road, are they? 4
yeah.
seconds.
The lead battle's just gone out a little bit, so I wonder if the traffic played a part in that one. Possibly. The two teammates are battling quite hard here, Chirinos and Spano in LMP1.
Be working together, really, you'd think, to catch Mark. Try and get the 1-2 over him to try and essentially rub it in the face. Oh!
Bit of weaving down the straight here, trying to get the dirt off the tyres, I presume, but can't be warming up the tyres.
They are letting Mark get away here as he's pulled out a 6.5 second gap almost.
I think most of that was in the traffic, to be fair, but still, they need to...
This battling isn't helping them
No.
at all by any means. They go almost side by side through turn 1.
Oh, don't hit each other.
They do go side by side.
And he's got through, Spano is through. Oh,
Spano is
looks
past
all
his
over the
teammate.
place.
He's... Yep, all in the grass.
Oh, he's on the cross. Oh, well, he just about kept it on the road that time, but... struggling with his car for some reason. He just doesn't... I don't know what's happening there, but... not having a great time of it.
I'll have to pit for a set of grass tyres in a second, the way he's going, along with Philip Holland too.
Well, Philip made up a position actually. I wonder if Teglis has made a mistake, because...
That is quite a substantial gap.
yeah.
Here comes Tuki in the LMP1 to lap the fifth. Is he only just caught up to the back of them? Yes.
Yeah, he's quite a long way off.
That was a lot of time he lost.
Yeah. Didn't really get to the bottom of why he lost so much time.
He just kind of pulled off to the right on the back straight, and then all of a sudden found his gas pedal again. What that was, we might have to interview him after the race. Who knows?
Yeah,
Mark up to an 8-second lead now almost.
Yeah, it's getting more and more impressive actually. It's pulling away. Looks like he's in control of the race for now. Yeah. But traffic will always close things up again, so can't be too safe yet.
Indeed. As the GTEs are actually now spreading due to the incidences between the. Oh!
That was major. It's almost got totally cut off there.
And I think the GTE was flashing him in a bit of sign of, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, probably not like
really.
that 'cause he's not Australian, but.
Giving him a bit of the Spanish
abuse. No, I think what happened there is that Gonzalez thought he was clear to go down the inside, but Frau didn't actually see him, so he didn't give him the space, and it was a bit lucky that there was some runoff on the inside there, because otherwise there could have been a little bit of trouble.
I would not be happy if I was either driver, to be honest.
No.
Going to catch up to the back of Stan as well. Should be quite a relatively easy pass around the outside. Acceleration on those cars is just absolutely insane, especially compared to the GTs. Cornering speed actually isn't too much different. It's just on the brakes and under acceleration is where these cars really get their performance over the GTE cars.
Well, they've got a lot more downforce. It's like mechanical grip's not too much different, like this corner right here, Collier curve.
Yeah, the hairpins, they struggled quite a lot with their very long wheelbase.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to get round sometimes, and curves are not really to their liking either, but the rest of the part, they're way better. Oh dear, way better.
Ben has dropped off from the Porsche of then the. I'm not even gonna embarrass myself trying to Underweger.
Well, that's
I think there's about a 6-second gap. About a 6-second gap to them now. They had a very close battle in the opening laps.
Yeah, that's fairly large actually.
Broke away from the rest of the group of GTEs as well, quite heavily.
Bit more default racing trouble there. Yeah, possibly a bit of argy-bargy. These two Porsches running line astern at the moment. Don't forget they've still got the LMP1 Manufacturers Championship up for grabs. It is currently Audi leading Porsche by 13 points, and then Toyota way down in third, but since we don't have any Toyotas, they will definitely finish in third.
They're not showing too much of a strong performance.
No. The only championship that's not actually sewn up before we came in here was the GTE Manufacturers Championship. That's going to be won by Aston Martin. But Audi versus Porsche is definitely still on. Not sure how that's actually scored, whether you just add up all the... meanwhile, off the road, and two C-Force racing cars are going to be battling again, but I don't know how it's scored, whether you just add together all the Porsche cars, or do you just get the best score from each one? I'm not really sure.
But I think it's the best, at least based off the team championships. It's based off the best score that the a driver in that team scored. Right.
Because actually the GTE teams has also sewn up before we came in here. That's going to be MPG Competition Team Asia are going to win that one with 172 points so far, and a few more to add to today. Let's see if we've got any other close battle. We'll actually just watch these guys, see if anything happens through the traffic here, because here's Philip Volland. Oh! Ooh! That was a bit of edgy, bit of a low percentage move there. And
he does give him the space though.
Yeah, fortunately for all parties there was space given, but if this was a 12-hour race like you'd see at Sebring, maybe you wouldn't go for those kind of low percentage moves, because you don't often...
would it really be worth it?
Probably not. But fortunately, These guys
You can
have
see the
worked it out.
sun beginning to actually set slightly with the dusk in the background. Just that
Yeah, I
orange
thought-
tint
That
starting
was
to
getting a bit
settle
darker.
in. There's the sun just there, actually. Coming through turn 1 with the camera panning through.
Yeah. So,
And Mark's
lead
just
gap.
got a very comfortable lead now, actually.
8 seconds.
Just sitting at 8 seconds.
It was 9 a second ago, but these two cars probably lost him a little bit of time.
Yeah, I believe the timing is very fluctuates quite a bit.
Oh, he's on the
Now
grass.
that's a pass on the grass, and again on the grass. And coming back on, he passed 2 cars on the grass.
That was just crazy there.
Is his teammate going to take a page out of his book? No, but he's going to give the GTE car a bit of a bump.
Yeah.
And now on the back of the Aston.
Oh, careful. Oh,
And he just
that
can't
wasn't
find a way around. He's losing
No.
so much time to his teammate. Look how far up his teammate's gone.
3 seconds.
Bruno's
now.
gotten about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
After passing those 2 in the grass, he gained 3 seconds on his teammate.
Alvarez has just spent ages trying to catch. Oh, here we go. Here's a bit of a battle between the new Aston Martin and the new, still quite new, Porsche, between Frau and Volland. These are the two championship contenders.
Indeed it is. Volland hasn't really had the best of races so far, but he's still a little bit wide again. However, Carlos obviously hasn't either. He's going to go defensive, I believe, just trying to break that toe along the back straight. He's going to pull back over onto the racing line. I don't think Philip got the best of exits actually onto the back straight. He was quite on him until that corner, and he lost the rear end.
Yeah, when we cut to them, he was right all over the back. But he's closed up again fairly quickly.
Through
And here he
turn
goes,
1,
almost
oh, that
straight
is
off the back.
a lot of overspeed.
Yeah.
Really just drove through him. A little bit of a lock up there.
Oh, Volland's off!
Oh, Volland is off!
He's avoided the
Can he
wall.
keep it off the wall? Yes, just.
He just about managed to avoid the wall, but he's lost 4 or 5 seconds. Looks like it's going to be about 5 seconds when this timing sorts itself out. Yeah, that is a fairly big gap now, but after getting dived at Cunningham turn last time around, it looks like Alvarez...
These are the 2 drivers just in front, actually, I believe.
Yeah, Alvarez has just caught up to Mr. Grimminger in the old Aston, rather than the new.
If he makes a mistake through this section, it could be on, as Alves actually closes up quite a drastic amount through this section.
He's got a good run.
Grooming up.
Got a good run. He's
A
got
very
a good
good
toe
run.
as well. Can he look to the inside? Here we go. Oh, Grimminger tries to spin
got
off
a-
when on straight.
Ooh.
Chases him all the way to the road. This could be spicy as we enter Sunset Turn, but Alvarez kind of gives him the corner there. He didn't really fancy throwing it down the inside. So
It's
he's
quite
gonna
hard
bide his
to
time.
go through that final corner in side by side at least, just because of the you're very modulating the brake coming in, and it's very awkward, especially when you are side by side, just trying to pick the endurance side of it. He's still got an hour and a half of this to go. He's going to have a peak there, bro.
Yes, didn't quite manage to pull that one off, but he definitely looks like the faster of these two.
Especially through the end of the second and beginning of the third sector.
Oh, I believe we've got an issues here for Gonzalez. He's in. So first pit stop of the race for Tuki Gonzalez. Now I'm not sure why, but he seems to be. Maybe this is an early stop to get off strategy a bit, because you could probably still make this a one more stop from here.
I don't know exactly how far the LMP1's fuel can go.
I know real life they used to be able to get like 50 minutes, but it might not quite transfer quite as well as you'd think.
I know these GTE cars can only manage 30 or so laps on fuel. With a bit of fuel saving, I'm sure you can manage 35. However, that is stretching it.
Yeah.
Again, very close to the back of him. Can he get a good run through the final corner and suck up to the rear wing of that Aston? Going to dive to the inside. I assume he's going to go defensive, and he's just not close enough.
I don't think it's
actually.
close enough, no. It's hard to have a dive through here without spinning off wildly out of control, so...
Yeah, you do definitely have to be... Yeah, very different from the two. Alves with a much tighter and...
looks more neat line, but he might...
Yeah.
Might not
Grimminjack just gets the wide
line.
Go?
He's not willing to risk his car by throwing it up the inside. He seems to be
Quite
pinking it to
hard
the inside and braking early.
It is a very late braking zone. Oh, he is going to put a little bit of a nose in there and gets a little bit squirrely, but collects it.
That's probably why he didn't do it before, to be honest, because that didn't work out very well.
He's lost a bucket load of time, probably about a second to him.
Yeah, it looks like about 9/10 that he's just lost there, but...
Going to have to catch all that back up again. And with their similar pace, it's going to be quite difficult to do so.
Is the leader in GT. Van der Weege is currently 9 seconds in the lead. There's 4th place in LMP1. There's 3rd, 2nd, and then your leader, Mark
Porsches have split off quite a fair amount. Mark extending his gap again to 10 seconds. 4-second gap between the two Porsches.
Oh! The headlights are coming on now in full force. It's going to get a little bit more difficult for us to see.
Camera does not like the LEDs of those headlights.
No, it's not having a great time there, but there you go. It's going to get a little bit more difficult for us to see what is actually happening here, but that's part of night driving, I guess. I guess they can't really see where they're going either. So.
Yeah, sometimes they have their braking points as simply points on the road, like can just simply be a little bit of tar or a bit of grass. So obviously headlights on, like even though it doesn't look too dark and you might not have your lights on if you were driving at this time of night or day, in real life they do need them for their braking markers. As Mark begins to lap the field again.
Yep, there was 9th and 10th overall. Prout and Volland, he's just lapped. He's going to be on to Alvarez and Grimminjack in a minute, who are presumably near-ish to each other. Still a second after that mistake from Alvarez.
Very similar on pace, these two. Well, it's so hard to overtake when you are so similar on pace because the only really heavy braking zone is the hairpin, but it's not exactly wide through there, quite easy to defend.
Well, it seems wide on the entry, but then with that little chicane afterwards, it's kind of... Really
once it gets into the apex, and that chicane afterwards, as you said, it's very hard to get on the inside and get a run out of there. With the person on the outside, just having quite a relatively straight.
Yeah, it is. Can be fairly difficult to get the move done there, but well, it's the hardest braking zone, so if you're going to get it done at all, you might as well try there. As maybe Alvarez can use his teammates' traffic here to try and get past Constant and Grimminjack. It looks like it might be a bit sketchy into Sunset Turn. He's got past them both.
He is alongside.
He's going to follow him through. Goes a little bit wide, the Aston. The Porsche's got up there.
Alves is definitely better at this corner at maintaining that inside line.
Good exit from the Aston.
Yeah, the exit from the Aston just helps him with that speed onto the front straight into turn 1.
And you get it done down here into turn 2 or 3.
He's always had a look into here.
He's done it again, but he's not quite risked it as much as he did last time, which caused him to do a little half spin and lose about seconds. Whereas the last time he's done it again, he's lost a bit more time, about half a second there.
He's eaten that curb basically with the front end of his car.
Yeah, that wasn't
And again,
totally accurate.
probably just being frustrated behind the back of Dan at the moment with his defensive driving. Not overly defensive, but you know, just doing what he needs to do. And obviously, if you are faster, it does get quite annoying when you are behind someone who's not too much slower, but just that you know, can push faster if you were in front.
Well, I can't say I've had too much experience of actually being faster than someone, but I can't say I know exactly how that feels. But anyway, yeah, I do understand that it can get frustrating, and this is for a podium as well, so they are fighting hard. But it looks like the better bet might be for a bit of a strategy play here from the Porsche. See if he can do anything on the strategy. Although the GTs are quite limited, given they're only going to make one stop today, I believe.
Yes, it will work out to about one stop. Some might be brave and go to a 2-stop, however.
Oh, he's giving it another lot, but look, Konstantin's just placing his car in the right position, and this looks like it's going to be a bit of a shoot the gap. No, the Aston pulls to the right hand side. That could have been a bit of a moment, but the
Who's that in the pits, actually? Is that an LMP car?
It's actually his teammate. I think Spano is in as well.
Oh, Tuki on the outside.
Yep, Bruno Spano is into the pit lane. I'm not sure, that is a little bit early as well, so we'll have to see what that's all about.
Possibly doing a 3-stop for the LMP.
Well, if he's on a 3-stop, then Gonzalez is definitely on a 3-stop.
He'd have to be with that stop. He might be on a 6-stop, actually.
Yeah, we'll have to see how long the top 2 can actually stay out for.
Get a good reference on how far the LMP1s can genuinely run in their stints.
Yeah, because we know it's definitely more than half an hour. Because we've seen it done before, and see it today probably. As this battle continues between Griminger and Alvarez.
Griminger with his lights on, and Alvarez just hunting him really without his lights on. He's going to go for a dive.
He's well up there now. He's got to get this moved on now, but Konstantin Griminger
as it switches to the inside. No! He loses time again.
This is
an
a
very
unbelievable display of place. Yeah. But he's just getting desperate now.
He is. He's just trying to get round at any point. He's not waiting. He's not being patient. I don't blame him though.
He's finished with being patient because he's been stuck behind for so long now. He just can't hang on any longer, and he's losing so much time to the top 2 ahead. He might be hoping that he can get up the order a bit more as Gonzalez pits again from what I just saw in the background there. Not really sure why that has taken place again, but maybe he's got damage or something. I'm not really sure.
At this rate, he is on a 6-stop. I can confirm.
I know it's only just left the pit lane, so that is a long stop for
He's
Spano.
Lost 2 laps, actually, to the leaders. So he was in there for about 3 minutes. Possibly more.
He was about to be overtaken by Gonzalez if he didn't have pitted then.
So Gonzalez, if he had managed to stay out for as long as what Mark and his teammate, Spano's teammate, are doing, Jesus, he could have actually overtaken Spano. Oh, they do touch!
There's another bit of contact between Alvarez and Griminger, but the Aston stays in front again. The Porsche looks around the outside. He might change back to the inside, but very late on.
He goes side by side again.
Tries to go around the outside, but the Aston shuts the door again. Oh, bit more contact. That's a bit of weaving on the straight now, and this is where he tried to overtake him last time. So is he going to defend this time? No, the Porsche dive, but
if I was Alves, I would be livid in that car. I would be wanting to get around him quick smart. I don't think I'd be too clean about it. He's off! He's in the wall!
He's hit the wall pretty hard there. I don't know if he's going to have well, not race ending, definitely, but he might have race altering damage now after that.
They have to alternate to a 2-stop actually with that damage.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in at the end of this lap.
And will he? It seems he keeps it quite tight. No, he will continue on.
Well, that's just the line he takes. He just takes such a tight line around that final corner.
Seemed to work for him behind Dan when he was going through. Then a really good run up along. Oh, he is off. Goes Carlos. Gonna put him into the clutches of Philip Volland, his championship rival, actually.
Yeah.
Volland isn't going to go for a move into turn 1. Starts to think better of it.
Well,
he's going to get a little bit of overspeed and onto the grass again.
It looks like the Porsche are very fast in that high-speed turn 1 though. We saw one of the Repsol cars being very fast around there.
I believe it was Alves making the move around the outside. Quite a stunning move, mind you.
Yeah, it was.
Who entirely cleared the man on the inside.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what they can do with it. Oh, off the road for Frau, and this could be the chance that Volland needed. He tries to go around the outside for this long sweeping right-hander.
He is there. He's got a nose.
The space, not quite. Will he have a dive into this? Bit of a braking turn here. Well, not quite.
Thinks about it.
He thought about it, but he hasn't gone for it, and he's going to have to stay behind in 10th just for now.
Seems to be the Porsches are having a bit of a tough time getting around any of the Astons. Is there a bit of a trend going on here?
Maybe a bit of straight line speed advantage for the Aston Martins with their quite beefy engine.
So much quicker through obviously because as you can see as he gets close to the rear end.
Slide.
He goes. Is he close enough? I think he may be, but he's going to have to be very committed into this lap. Is it almost alongside? He's definitely going to note him.
No, he can't quite do it there. So even with that mistake, the Porsche couldn't get the run on the Aston Martin, which is the story of the race so far and the battles that we've seen anyway. Oh, contact!
Oh, they touched!
I don't think he realised he had a car alongside him there.
I don't think he knew how bad his run actually was outside of
he's going to cut back.
Corner.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Cut back through turn 1.
To the inside. This could be the one.
It is. He gets through. Goes defensive. He's got the move done. He's licked the stamp and he's sent it.
He has. And he's paid it off, fortunately for him. Which
the Porsche does succeed. Can Alves do it? He's got 2 more seconds to gain on Stan to even think about going for another move.
Yeah, he's a little bit far back for now. We'll see if Volland can actually pull away from his championship rival.
I don't think Carlos is going to let him escape from his clutches, at least without a fight.
This is the battle for 5th, we believe, and I'm pretty sure it is the battle for 5th. And this would only give Volland a 2-point advantage in the championship, which is nowhere near enough at this stage.
He's going to need to find 19 and 4 more race wins. He's going to need.
He's going to need to find 50 seconds.
He is making Carlos obviously push as he goes wide there.
As I said earlier, Carlos will still want to beat him out on this race.
Coming around about a third of the way into the race now, we could see some people pitting if they are looking at a 2-stop. Alves has actually caught up drastically over the few laps from that heavy mistake out onto the back straight.
Yeah.
So just kind of shows you the pace advantage that he does actually have over that Aston.
He's
wide though.
He keeps making mistakes like that. That's why he keeps falling back. That gap now to the Aston Martin just in front in second position is now 20 seconds. He's lost about 10 seconds. Just been trying to get past the older generation Aston Martin.
just cannot get around him at all. He's about a second a lap quicker, if not more. However, that Aston is fast and still wide in a straight line, and just not letting him around.
Yeah.
Might have to call up Philip, actually, and ask him how to get around the Aston.
Yeah, he will do, but he hasn't actually got away that much. He's just put a bit of a gap in there for now. So we'll have to see if he can actually get any further away. I don't think that he's going to be catching up to this battle. But
anytime soon.
No, he's going to be...
With the way Alves is driving, I would not be surprised if there is an accident. Not due to Alves' driving, obviously, but just due to... Oh, he's going to go for a move, though.
Time, he's gone too
He's
deep.
going to get it
The Aston's
too
going to
deep.
get up the inside. Here he goes, the number 14. Can he hold it up the inside? Yes, he can. He's going to hold him out wide, and they're side by side now down the back straight.
Aston loses the rear end onto the back straight. That was going to take off a lot of momentum. Here he comes, though, along the inside. And look at that Aston with the speed.
Just look at that engine, how it's...
Oh, they touch! Aston loses, they touch again!
He's got through again. The Aston Martin is defending so well here, but the Porsche, we know how fast it is into turn 1. And with the inside line, surely this is Alvarez's opportunity to finally get through. Here he goes. The Aston swinging back to the inside. Would you believe
it?
Look
at the speed through there. Alvarez is going to get the switch back again. Going up to the inside. He's going to send it.
The outside for the Aston. Oh, my God.
They touch again.
The Aston Martin prevails in this battle as the Porsche has to drop back to 4th. This is unbelievable. The amount of
I said it once and I'll say it again. Alves is livid in that cockpit. I would be so angry. He got the move done, but he couldn't hold it. He's going to send it actually into the hairpin. Unbelievable. He pulls it up as well.
Whoa. He's managed to somehow get on the brakes 50 metres or so later than the Aston Martin and still made the corner. That's the latest I've seen anyone brake for that corner. That is just unbelievable.
I think Stead misjudged his braking point there and got on it just a little bit early, and Alves just basically had enough of it and went, I've got to send it.
Yeah,
Can he defend actually from the Aston? We're actually going to see the pace difference, or if it's just the car following has the advantage. If I was Alves, I'd be quick to get out of there after his antics in their little scrap for the past 20 laps, basically, almost since the beginning of this race.
He was defending very well, to be fair to Grimming. He was holding the Porsche off for a very, very long time, even when he clearly had a pace disadvantage. So he's done really quite well to hold on so far, but it looks like that battle might just be over now, with the gap at 8/10, half a second or so.
Such a sigh of relief, though, for Alves, at least at the moment, actually getting around him and not having to worry about being stuck behind someone. As we go to Alves' teammate in the LMP1, having quite a relaxed race with a 21-second lead. Still hasn't made his first stop yet. Probably going to come within the next 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, you'd think so. We'll have to wait and see if the LMP1s might be able to do 30 laps on a stint. We're not really sure. But
I believe they will be pitting within the next 10 or so minutes.
Yeah. Don't think it's going to be a one-stop for the LMP1s, even if... Well, he could do some mega fuel saving, but given the pace he's going right now, I wouldn't expect that he is fuel saving.
With a 21-second lead, yeah, he would be absolutely flooring it.
Yeah, well, I would be anyway. I'd be just terribly slow if I was fuel saving. But that is not.
You can see it actually is quite dark now.
It is. His family only just switched his headlights on, actually, Squirker. And he's coming up to lap Gonzalez for the third time this race. He's on the grass to overtake him. That was a bit sketchy.
He does get him, though.
Yeah. 3 laps down now, Gonzalez. This battle isn't definitely our closest one still. It's just under a second. Bit of traffic coming up. That is these two well, one Audi and one Porsche. No, it's not. It's two Audis. Or is it one Porsche as well? I can't remember what Gonzalez is actually driving.
Very vibrant car.
Yeah, the colourful one.
Or we can put it down to the colourful one.
No, it is a Porsche.
Believe it's an Audi. Or is it a Porsche?
It is a Porsche, yeah. We are only just working that out, about 45 minutes
he
into
is
the
going to
race.
catch these two GTEs at a
He's
very
held
awkward
off.
point.
Defensively, he's held off.
Not trying to ruin the GTE battle currently going on, as Stan would be looking at Alves with anger in his eyes, as all he is looking at is the backside of his rear wing. LMP1 though going for an unconventional move around the outside, switches through between them, and okay, that's worked out for all parties.
Slowed down the Porsche from the mid-corner because of
Alves.
earlier. He's LMP1.
Oh, Stan, he's going to be on for a move.
Here we go. He's going to shut the door in his face, so he's not going to let himself get back behind that Aston Martin because he knows how difficult it is to get past, but he's gone wide into the turn. He has managed to stay.
Going to give Stan a bit of a taste of his own medicine with this defensive driving. I don't think he's going to let him by with any amount of ease. If that Aston Martin can get on the back of him at all on the back straight, I think that Aston will glide past with the straight line speed advantage.
He did just make a mistake there and go a little bit wide, just missed the apex. Oh, he's missed the apex.
He's missed this one again.
He's in the grass now. Not good for the Aston Martin, and that could be the end of that because the gap's now over a second.
Almost out to a second and a half.
Around the outside there from the LMP1 car. They're in the grip. Oh! Slow! The Alvarez is slow and he's going into the pit lane, so... Interesting why he's coming to the pit lane there. Presumably it's just fuel based and not actually any issues going on there, but we'll have to wait and see.
Do 30 laps, so yeah, he would be on for the 2-stop.
Oh, DNF!
Who's
He's
DNF?
out of the race.
Alves?
He's out of the race.
Oh, yes, he has actually other commitments. That's due to his DNFs. I've just remembered that, actually. He was only going to do half the race. Disregard.
So that battle was...
However, he put on a very good show.
Yeah, he did
that
while he was
first
here.
half.
Giving Gruminger a good run for his money, but he's pretty safe in his podium now, just 17 seconds of a gap. And let's just... We're down to 10 runners now. We've got 4 LMP1 cars and 6 GTEs. And Mark Squirkser is currently leading the race. I'm sure I'm butchering his name, by the way. It's just quite difficult to to get that name out. The German driver. He is currently 27 seconds in the lead.
Just slowly eking it out, about give or take a second a lap over the nearest competitor. And yeah, Bruno did probably have damage as he is 2 laps down on Mark at the moment due to that pit stop.
Oh, he's off the road again. Oh, he just kept it out the wall.
Nearly into the wall goes Bruno.
He's just behind his own teammate right here, and he's off the road again.
Very creative racing line from Bruno here.
Creative
Your championship leader, ironically enough. Tuki is in again for his 3rd stop.
This 6th stop is on. You know?
He's on for the 6th stop, I'm telling you. It's the strategy.
The possibility right now.
The tyres are going to come back to him. I'm telling you.
So we've got 1 hour and 10 minutes remaining in this race, about 50 minutes so far, and these guys are not going to be, or haven't come in just yet. Let's see if we have any LMP1 pit stops to the end of lap 30 now. We are just passing Tagless. Oh, Gonzalez DNFs as well. So
Gonzalez has DNF'd.
Losing 2 cars in
very short period of time, probably about 3 minutes of each other.
Yeah. So down to 9. And just a third of those is now LMP1. So in GT, it is Angelo van der Weggen in the Porsche, number 64, and he is currently...
We could see a GTE on the overall podium.
We could,
actually.
Yes. That guy's doing a lot better than he did in the previous round, only managing 11th in GTE.
He is only a lap behind Bruno Spanho as well.
Yeah, so if there are any more crashes or issues...
anything that...
Yeah.
Puts a distaste in Bruno's mouth. He knows he can just not finish the race and take the title and go home really and have an ice block.
Yeah,
and enjoy this. I know we were meant to end under lights, but I didn't expect it to get so dark so quickly, actually, as we're not even halfway through and it is almost pitch black now. Especially on the backstraight, as you can see, we can only really see the headlight illuminating in front and the tail lights of that Porsche.
Yeah, it's getting pretty difficult to see what's actually happening right now because kind of dark out there. We were expecting it to get dark around halfway in this race. I was expecting sunset around now, to be honest, and unfortunately it's not really happened like that. It's got a bit darker a bit sooner than we were thinking originally, but you know, these things happen, and of course being winter now in the northern hemisphere anyway, where we are, or where I am, it is getting dark quite soon, quite early.
Indeed. Close on-track battles, not really. Philip and Carlos are kind of the closest cars on track with a 10-second gap between themselves in terms of battling for position.
Yeah, here is Holland in the Motul Porsche, it looks like, MPG competition. Teams
How
champions.
quick that LMP1 car is as it just storms by.
The leader. Goes 5 laps down there, does Philip in 4th position in his class. Just about to complete 27 laps.
The GT should be making a 1 stop as they are 5 laps down, so they've only completed probably
27.
How many laps they've done?
27 laps just completed now.
So the GT, the LMP1s have done here on 35 then, or just about 33.
Let's go check. 32 laps and a half, if you want, for the race leader currently. Yeah, it got a 30-second margin currently over Chirinos, and then Bano is another lap back and off the road a bit there.
Everyone does seem to go off the road here because of how thin this track actually really is.
Yeah.
Very long lap and quite a thin one too.
Yes, not ideal for multiclass racing, but we did just go to Sao Paulo and that's not ideal either, so you know, these guys have got to get on with it, and they are doing it.
That Sao Paulo race was found out the hard way from a lot of GTE drivers, myself included.
We had a good GTE representation there with 11 cars who participated in just the GTE class, 18, 17, no 18, I can't count, 18th started the race overall. So we're a little bit down on that from last time. But just as I'm looking down the drivers' championship here, a lot of different nationalities, which is really great to see. Really emphasising the international part of the acronym.
You would think it would be a bit of an issue in terms of internet, but with this Automobilista platform, it really handles the lag quite well and kind of estimates where your car is in between lag rather than picking up the last point that your ping found you at. So it makes the racing a lot smoother. It makes it quite iffy in a lot of instances, but smoother for watching and for driving against someone wheel to wheel. And they are halfway across the globe, like myself.
Yeah, that is the beauty of sim racing, the internationalness of. That's a word. I'm not really sure that is a word, but you get what I'm trying to say at this point, because the closest cut on track is currently nearly 15 seconds away. So just waiting for I'm waiting for these LMP1 pit stops, to be honest, because I really don't know how these guys are going for so long. I thought they'd be in at least 10-15 minutes ago, but apparently not.
For any Formula One fans listening right now, if you don't want spoilers for the Brazilian Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly has finished P2 in a Toro Rosso, and both Ferraris collided. Which, if you're not a Formula One fan, that is beyond, my jaw is on the ground. Can someone come and pick it up for me? That is actually themes. I can't wait for the highlights of that to come out. It was like a very intense race.
Yes.
It was quite entertaining with Alves and Stan going at it beforehand. Wheel to wheel. Thank God they aren't in open wheel cars, as we will be in Macau, which I'm kind of dreading, actually.
I'm glad I'm not racing in that one, because as we've seen from the real life Macau Grand Prix this last couple of days, you can get a little bit squeaky around there, a little bit tight and narrow, and there could well be a pile-up at some point.
Takes argy-bargy to a whole nother meaning.
Yeah.
At that track, especially into turn 3.
Yeah, turn 3 is particularly narrow at Lisboa, as I believe it's called. But yeah, we're having, I believe that's an F3 championship that's going there very shortly. I'm pretty sure that is the case.
Yes, the Formula 3 World Cup.
Yes.
Alright, Mark, again, extending his lead out to almost 35, or over 35 seconds now. So, about a second a lap, he is gaining over the rest of the field.
Yeah, there's pretty big gaps going on everywhere, actually, right now, as we cycle down the order.
So, pit stops as... Oh, there is one, actually.
Leader in GTE have been in.
And he's off.
No, he's...
Or, off as in, he's off and away from his pit stop.
I thought, I'll check back then, because I was like... But yeah,
So, I assume that will be his one and only stop for the race.
Well, he's just short of now. Maybe he did just cut that stint a little bit short.
He may have a little bit of fuel saving. However, he does have the gap, to my knowledge, of a fair amount. Porsche behind him of Philip Bolland again. Not going entirely off the track, but always loving to dip two wheels off and give it a bit of a play. That's the track limits.
I believe we do believe it is Gonzalez's debut in this series. Actually, I'm just going to check that for sure.
Well, the
Yes, it is.
LMP1.
But the LMP1s, it is the debut of Chico Gonzalez. I've just looked him up. He's actually from Angola, which is, I believe, if that's correct, because I'm not even sure where that is. I believe he's the only African in the whole of the WEC field. Can't find another one, so the fact that I've just found out that I didn't know before, it's the kind of thing what happens when you don't scroll through these pages quite enough before you actually begin to commentate on these things, but
You get thrown into the commentary box, as you can say. However, someone's got to do it, and I don't mind it entirely. Something new, something different.
No, I don't mind it either. And given my brake pedal, my throttle pedal is probably quite broken right now. It's better than, well, it's better to do this than absolutely nothing, because otherwise I would race and get absolutely smashed. But
well,
anyway.
you have Sven on for a podium. Obviously, we'll cycle down back to Van der Weege.
Yeah.
Cycle down to him being on 4th. Van der Weege. We'll just go with that.
Yeah. Well, I actually commentated
All
on
these
another race
international
with him. I believe it was last weekend, actually. A 24-hour race where he was driving for much of my stint in the commentary box. He had much of his stint in an LMP2 car, that was. So that's the name I kind of mustered up then about a week ago, and now I've kind of had to stick with it because I'm kind of committed to that. But race leader is in. He will be net second place, we believe, when Mr. Gielhoud comes out of the pit lane.
Go on board with Van der Weege.
Yeah.
Weege.
We haven't had an onboard yet.
See if he can pass, or see what the pit stop's like if he does pass it. While that beautiful white Aston Martin actually is sitting in the pit lane.
Only his second race in the WEC for the Belgian driver. He came 11th in Brazil, and funnily enough, for Gielhoud, it is only his second race as well.
He is quite a pacey driver, though, in this GTA category.
He did win last time.
On debut.
Yeah, so that's impressive. Very, very impressive.
Especially in such a high-density packed race. That is also Stan in behind him in the old Aston.
Yeah.
As he pits.
His Frau was through already. Has gone Van der Weege a long time ago. So Gielhoud has lost a bit of time there.
He is well up the road, and well, if there was any questions about fuel saving for Van der Weege, he's easily got the time to fuel save. Yeah.
Frau has come in as well. It's a bit of a longer stop for Grimminger at this stage.
Well, the Aston Martins are all in first out of the current running GTE cars.
Yeah, apart from Van der Weege, who came in a little bit... Oh, he's in... Oh no, that's the way there was before. Ignore me. So Volland has gone up into... The Porsches do look like they're running a little bit longer. I would agree with that.
Volland and Laszlo. Volland, it's the commentator's curse. Every time we pan to him, he's running two wheels on the grass. However, like, he's still going quite fast.
He is somehow.
It's so quite odd. It's just every time we happen to look at him, he's two wheels in the grass.
Slow. Oh no, I'm not sure
Pulling
why.
into the pits.
Yeah, Teglis is going remarkably slowly there, actually.
Going a bit cautious, I believe, going into there.
Brown has finally left the pit lane, about half a minute behind Grimminger. The gaps are starting to form in this race. Volland is going to be the final GT to pit. See if we've got any... No, still no LMP1 pit stops. This is remarkable.
The LMP1, even though they have crossed the halfway point, are not hitting. Can they go the whole distance? I don't believe so. I don't think their fuel is... Surely they don't have the fuel for going the distance.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect... Maybe the tyres can, but you probably want to change them anyway if you're coming into the pits, so... We'll have to see when he actually comes in.
If they come in.
Yeah.
Through now. With... Is that someone behind? No, it is not. At least not for position. We now cycle through Laszlo behind him. Last of the running cars at all. Mike in the lead again. Just pulling away at a drastic rate at this point. 44 seconds now to the next car. Not that they would be probably too bothered to try and catch him, especially at this point. Just wouldn't be worth it. 2 laps ahead of his teammate is Jesus, which will most likely be after tonight the championship winner of WEC for the 2019, and got a 3-lap lead over your GTE cars, being driven by Van de Wager. 25-second lead over his nearest rival after their cycle of pit stops, being Sven, again with another huge gap. Grimminger with a 20-second gap to their next car, Philip with another 15-second gap, and then Carlos through with another 1-minute gap to Laszlo at the back. Right spread out at this point, so quite odd how the new Aston's headlights are nowhere near as bright or illuminative, if that is a word. Quite dull headlights, at least when viewing from a camera. We're going to ride on board with... Oh! Bruno's in the pits for his second stop, actually, of the night. So... that is odd. I don't know if he has crashed. I don't believe so. But he is in again, and if it is due to a crash and he does have to fix a fair amount of damage, could see a GTE on the overall podium. But never mind, he is away again with a 3-lap lead to the GTE runners. Quite odd to see that Bruno went in for another pit stop so quickly, when he had only pitted, I think it was 20 minutes beforehand.
Damage? Maybe again?
He wasn't in for too long, so I don't know if he was repairing damage, and if it was, it wouldn't have been worth it, at least in my opinion, unless it was, I don't know, like purely just performance damage.
Yeah, well, we don't know. But
having that much of a gap that he did and being so far behind, you may as well pit and fix your car up to get a car that drives straight rather than one that's a little bit bent. Just makes it easier on yourself.
Yeah. Got 15 minutes to go.
Quite spread, with the closest cars being, I believe, 15 seconds apart.
Yeah.
just with the drop of Alves, just doesn't just really opened up the mid pack of the GTEs.
Yeah, so closest battles are kind of simultaneously between Gruminger and Volland and Frau at the moment.
Kind of a long game and now a race of attrition rather than on track wheel to wheel like we saw earlier in the opening 25 laps or so.
I think Gruminger is going to be trying to gain position in the championship today. He's only 10 points behind Volland. However, he's only gaining 2 points right now, I believe. Yeah. No, he's gaining 3 points. But that's still not enough because he's got a 10-second margin. So he needs Volland to drop down another couple of spots, and then still hasn't got much of a chance. So he's going to need to make up some positions himself at this stage. I think, not sure. Oh, well, in the Teams Championship for LMP1, the C-Force Racing are going to lose out on 7 points, I believe. Because,
to Mark if he gets
gets the win. That would close it down to 5 points. But unfortunately, Gonzalez can no longer help with overtaking them in the championship now, because but that'll still be a nice thing to look at the end, with just 5 points separating the top 2 in the teams. Then in the manufacturers, it looks like that's Audi's got that one just about sewn up as well, by 20 points down in the end.
Surprising to see that no one from MGP Competition Team Asia is as their record early on in the season was nothing to say but just dominant, really, with
6 wins.
6 wins. And then just falling off at the back end.
Yeah, they're not even scoring in Japan, and then 5th in China and 4th last time in Brazil. So those guys have been struggling.
Again with Mark in LMP1 with a very strong beginning to the season. Well, not so much because he missed the first 2 rounds, but once he did get in, he was quite strong with 3 wins, 3 seconds, and only 1 retirement versus Bruno's array of podiums and a lonely 7th and 2 wins.
Not had a win since Bahrain, which is all the way back 3 months ago now. So yeah, that's quite a fairly long time.
Indeed. Lucas Morneau seems to be the guy that was on form. Actually having the same podium 2 races in a row.
But where Van der Week is about to lap one of his... I think he's about to lap somebody here. Volland is about to get lapped. Maybe, or maybe he's just put a lap on Teglis, I'm not really sure. Oh no, he's just put a lap on Laszlo Teglis. In for LMP1.
That
leader.
Mark is Mark.
The leader is in.
With 46 minutes to go and 45 laps in.
We'll have to see if Chirios actually follows him here.
I'd say will he react, but by the time he gets there, I assume Mark will be almost about ready to leave.
Yeah.
With just how huge that gap is, extending it by, as I was saying before, about a second per lap.
So here's Chirinos. Sunset Bend for 45th time in this race now. Looks like he's keeping it pretty tight. And not pitting.
He will go on.
Just about taking the lead there.
Leaving? No, Mark is not leaving, or at least not yet.
There he goes.
Oh, now he's exiting.
So yeah, just 7 seconds between them, but we're pretty sure that, well, we're almost 100% sure that Chirinos is going to pit.
He'd have to make it up fuel, at least you think.
Definitely.
Unless he does a absolute miracle with fuel saving.
Either way, he's going to have to save loads, and he's probably not
That
going to have the
could
space.
be where the times come from. He's just been fuel saving this whole time.
Well, I feel like it's slightly unlikely, but we'll have to wait and see.
Classic shots of LMP actually racing at Sebring, or IMSA I should say, racing at Sebring. Background shots on the little TVs in there.
Yeah, looks like a bit of an older shot, to be fair, because I don't know, it's
Classic racing for the nighttime spectators of this race.
Plus the real Sebring 12-hour finishes in the darkness, so it's not a bad idea to have the curtains come down on the season, if you like. Kind of
It
like
would be nice if Jesus does actually stay out.
Yes.
Until Mark gets to him, so we can have some form of on-track action.
Yeah.
Unless it's obviously the classical GT being lapped by the far superior LMP1, as we're about to see here. Look how dull the Aston Martin's lights are. They are nowhere near as bright.
Quite useful, actually. Seeing what we're doing. Because they don't just glare in your face when you're trying to see.
Yeah, I was quite appreciative of that.
Yes.
New innovation from Aston Martin. I feel like they should implement that into all GTE and LMP1 cars for next season. Makes commentating in the dark a lot easier.
Yeah. But the LMP1s aren't actually, well, they aren't too bad on the Audi anyway. But some of the Porsche GTE in particular is very glaring indeed.
Almost blinding.
Yes. Very difficult to see what we're doing, but speaking of Chirinos, he's going to want to do well in this race because, well, he's going to want to win because, or come second, because he might just jump up into third in the championship ahead of Lucas Murnau after he is not here for this race after winning the previous two and scoring another 2 podiums on this season as well in Fuji and the Nürburgring. Is it the Nürburgring? Yes.
And Mark has actually already gained a second a lap on these fresher tyres. A little bit heavier, obviously, with the fuel, but probably about a second and a half over these last 2 laps, and gap is only 4 or so seconds now.
Definitely have to be tyres. It's you wouldn't just go a whole race on this one set of tyres because.
Oh, you'd hope not. You'd have to pray for the driver driving that thing.
Yeah, you definitely would.
You'd be driving on the bead of the tyre by the end of the race.
Yeah, literally on the rim as they cross the line.
And swishing the fuel around the tank as they sputters across.
Yeah, so that was the GTE leader that the overall leader just passed, and here's Mark Swerker going to do the same in his Audi. Going to overtake the Porsche of Van der Wege, who pulls off to the side so he doesn't even have to move. It's very nice of him.
Well, so far, net leader, Mark, unless obviously Jesus is doing a one stop, which
Or a no
we
stop.
have based.
No, he's going in now.
And in he goes, relinquishing the lead back to Mark, being what, the first 2 or 3 laps he's not led since the beginning of the race.
Yeah, a similar thing happened in the last race actually, where I believe that there were around 47 laps were completed by the end of the day, and Morneau had led about 44 of them, and Mark Schwerker had led like 3. So I'd imagine, I didn't watch that race, but I'd imagine that a similar thing happened just then. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if there's any more strategy cars to play from either of these guys, but it's going to be a big stretch from here for Chirinos to win. GT, Tanguy van der Wege has got a whopping 29 seconds of a lead. For Juhoud, who is gonna, looks like he's on for a couple of podiums in a row here in his first 2 races, which is not bad. That would get him into 6th on the championship.
Well, after a win, you can't really fault him on debut. Especially at one of the most packed races that the IVRC had held this entire year.
Yeah. Something I've just noticed, I'm looking down the standings, and the reason why Mark Schwerker didn't appears not to have taken part in the first 2 races was because he was driving in the GT category for those 2 races.
Oh!
Yeah,
Well
he scored a 6th and a 4th, which would add 20 points to his tally, which would make this title decider a lot more close. And he would actually take the win if that were the case, if he added 30 points to his tally there, and you only added... actually, no, he wouldn't take it, would he? Oh no, he would. He would. He would take it. You added... yeah. So if you got those as like an overall standing, then you'd have a very close thing going on. But we don't have that because that would be incredibly difficult to score. Because, for example, if you got the same amount of points for winning LMP1, where just 3 finished, it would seem the same value as winning GTE, which has 6 finishes right now. That wouldn't really seem that fair. So. I get why that doesn't happen.
The LMP1s with quite a substantial lead over the rest of the GTEs, especially with Mark and Jesus so far out in front with 7 and 6 laps ahead of the rest of the pack respectively.
That's nearly a minute now for the race lead.
Running mid 130s is Mark. What lap times is Jesus running? We're probably not going to see for another minute or so.
Yeah, literally
as
a minute.
Coming through the back.
Yeah, he's around the
section
back
now.
Right now. Looks like Spanos had decent pace, to be fair to him. He's dropped up about a lap on pace, and compared to the leader, of course he dropped those 2 laps earlier with an early stop, but we believe he is going to the end from here.
Well, you would hope so with those 2 early stops, but...
Oh, goodness me, what's going on there?
Who was that?
Oh, it's the leader in GT, he's gone off the road. He's fortunately gathered it back up again. Looks like it might have been a screed freeze there.
He got very squirrely and just almost went straight on really, whether he just fatigued and just braked late or what happened.
Well, that was
very
close.
odd.
Yeah, he's dropped about 7 seconds in that, and I don't believe that little off track would have cost him 7 seconds. So I think he might have had a screen freeze then and got dropped back onto the circuit where he didn't really want to. He's just kind of spiraled out of control, and he hit something then, but fortunately he managed to avoid everything. The closest battle, still 15 seconds between Grimminger and Volland.
Still hasn't really closed in with how similar their pace has been all race.
Well, it's been about 3 seconds, but that's in about half an hour, so not coming down considerably.
That's 2.5 hours longer, and we'll see some door-to-door action.
Yeah. If this race could go on for a little bit longer, then that might be the case, but unfortunately it's not looking that way at the moment. A couple of Germans up the front of that order there.
Why are Germans so fast? Is there something that they are born with?
They do tend to be very fast.
It's not as if their country is like heavily populated either.
No.
Like, so they just happen to have a lot of race drivers.
Yeah.
It's just like America's got no one in Formula One. Like even there's an Australian in Formula One, but you know, Germans, you got Vettel, Schumacher.
If I'm honest with you, from my experience, and I've not played any kind of game race seriously recently, but I played quite a lot, like, you know, kind of semi-seriously, and done a couple of races on various different games, and I found that the hardest kind of group to race against is Europeans, and especially is kind of that kind of Germany kind of area.
They definitely will not let you by.
No.
If
well,
you
they're just
are
fast.
looking,
They don't even let you get near them.
And they are fast. Yeah, you'll have 4 Germans at the front that will go and dominate, and then you'll have that one German that's really good at defending, and you just can't put a move on him.
Well, we've been talking about Germany. Thunderwig has been in, and Gilhog is now leading the race.
So Sven has now taken the lead, and we might actually have something on our hands, because I believe he had a very good pace advantage in Van der Weger.
He called 30 seconds in the first stint.
He's going to need to he's got it all to do really in the last half an hour of this race. He probably didn't put in any fuel, just put in a new set of tyres, repaired some of his car, and he's now just going to try and blitz it up to Sven.
Yeah.
That gap was 18 seconds and it's already down to 16. Then again, that might be the timing of this, as it is not the most reliable timing screen in the world.
No, unfortunately not, but
because at the moment it looks like he's catching him at a rate of absolute knots at this point. He is just paddling up to him at this point.
He's making it look very easy. We're sure that's not the case. Could be. I believe that would be. Well, I know.
And now the time is obviously now shooting back up to 16 seconds, which it was at before. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised if it is coming in, not obviously as quickly as what the timing is suggesting, but still coming in quite quickly, as Sven would be on tyres that are half a stint old, and probably some damage to his car to a certain extent.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the results to see if we've actually had the new Aston Martin win yet, and I don't think we have.
I believe it is the car's debut.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Looking quite dominant if it can get a win on its debut. However, I believe that the Porsche driver will have a at least some sort of word to say about that. Whether it'll be the last word, we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
We come into the last half an hour.
Must be
or
the
just
debut.
about at least.
It would mean 2 wins in a row for Gilhout though, and if he's going to compete next season, then that bodes well, very well for him.
The driver market would be very hot for him coming into next with this form.
Yeah.
Regardless of where he finishes.
Yeah. Nothing's been announced yet for next season, but you keep an eye out
He's
for
looking
it.
like quite a quick and good young prospect in the IVRC Championship.
Well, you say young. I've got no idea how old he is.
No clue.
He doesn't have a page, so... I do know of the people who do have a page how old they are, but that's not what we're on about right now. So, we'll have to see. So, nobody like particularly stands out to me, young or old, but I did a commentary on a 24-hour race last weekend, as I mentioned earlier, and one of the guys, I believe he's about late 40s, which is remarkable, really, and he's still really fast for a middle-aged man. So I was quite surprised to hear that, but that's the other beauty of sim racing. You don't actually need to be the fittest person ever, or like really
the youngest.
Young. Yeah, like they are in the in real life. You have to be quite young and fit and all that, but
Young, fit, not fat with a little beer gut hanging out.
yeah.
I'm just talking Aussie bullshit at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure what all these words mean. But yeah, that's the other beauty of sim racing.
I don't think that Sven is really being caught as much as the timing was suggesting beforehand, as it's still between 15 and 16 seconds.
Pango was really attacking the curve through there. It's kind of hard to see in the darkness, but really driving it across those curves at Le Mans.
He was indeed. However, he is going to have to gain about a second a lap if he wants any chance of getting onto the back of them, which is a very tall order.
Oh dear, especially with that kind of thing going on. With the
LMP1s.
Yeah, I'm going the wrong way. There we go, that is Chirinos, who just passed. Lead gap currently 1 minute and 6 seconds between Stwerker and Chirinos. I'm going to get that name out eventually.
He may or may not lap the 2 cars ahead if he continues at this pace. Bit of a tall order, but if he is determined enough to lap them, then we will see.
Possibly. It's definitely possible, but this race is just making me think that what could have been for Gilhout and Van der Wegen, because they've only competed in one race so far this season, and they're doing very well right here as well. So if they were here for the whole season, then what would have happened? Because they're comfortably beating the championship contenders at the moment. The championship top 3 are stacked up right behind them, admittedly in the wrong order, but still beating them comprehensively and by over a minute at least. In fact, Gilhout's had to lap Brownie Houston. Going to jump his team up a little bit up the order as well as Gilhout. He's going to FRA Sim Racing he's driving for. the Swedish outfit, and they're going to jump up to 4th, I believe, in this championship battle. That gap for the lead in GT is just 14 seconds, definitely not coming down quickly enough.
We do come in to only 25-ish minutes to go in this race with, are both the LMP ones still on, like the first and second are actually still on the same lap?
Yeah.
That could... Oh, well, I'd say could be interesting. I've just looked at the time again. It is up to 1 minute and 10 seconds. Never mind then.
Yeah.
How is the gap between Ben and Guy?
14.
Come down a little bit.
Yeah, this is the closest one though. Grimminger and Volland.
They have actually pulled in a fair amount to each other over the past few laps. Bolland, now that we're watching him, he's probably going to go off again. Commentator's curse.
Oh, well,
God.
Tips the wheel off. I think Volland's finally just getting his eye in a bit. He's maybe not come up to this race with as much practice as normal.
Indeed, to be running that far back, at least for him, is a little bit unusual. Oh, he is off.
Oh, he's hit the wall.
And
I think he did hit the wall.
He had slowed it down a fair amount though, but
we really need to stop watching him because
it makes me feel so bad because I called it as well.
Yeah, we just keep catching him going off.
We just keep throwing our curse on top of him. Oh, we are horrible people.
We are terrible people. But never mind. We're enjoying it. Making him go off. But yeah, about to have 59 laps completed in this race now. I'm going to have about, well, at least 60 laps in this race, maybe 65, which is quite a lot in this race. This extra half an hour, we would normally be done by now in this type of event. They're normally 90 minutes, as well as Silverstone, Spa, Red Bull Ring, Bahrain, Fuji and Shanghai were all 90 minutes, but this race is 2 hours. There was a 2.4 hours of Le Mans earlier on this season, and obviously just a 60 minute at Sao Paulo. The gap is 1 minute 12 now as the striker just passed Volland a second ago. We're not allowed to go on board with him anymore because, well, we're not on board with him, we're just looking at it for a second there, but it didn't turn out too well last time, so we're not going to try it again.
Was quite a bit of a dramatic turn. Such a shame really not to have as many cars in this race as we did in Sao Paulo, especially with how close that track is. Obviously it was horrible if you were a GTE driver against the LMP ones. I'm sure the LMP ones also had a tough time through Sector 2 trying to get past all the GTEs, especially with all 11 of us.
I don't know if it's just me or is Konstantin actually crabbing right now.
Is he losing, or
he
he's
looks
a
like
little
he's
bit
going like drifting down the straights.
Celebrating early.
Well, he's not actually won anything. that's the main problem. He won the Le Mans event, which is quite an achievement, because that was the longest race of the season.
He's being passed by Mark, if that's anything to get hyped about. Which is now 10 laps ahead of him.
Yeah. Just puts another lap on him there. Gap's now back down to 17 seconds between Volland and Grimgate. I do wonder if he's losing a bit of time. Lead gap is down to 11 and a bit. So it's definitely going down. I don't know if it's quite quick enough though.
With just 20 minutes to go. What is the gap between them now?
11 and a half.
11 seconds. If Sven keeps making small, tiny mistakes, it could close in all that way. It's just a matter of overtaking. As it is a Porsche having to get round the Aston, which we know is quite difficult.
We do know by now it is substantially more difficult than the other way around.
Quite odd.
And by the way, if you're wondering why Grimminger is using the old Aston Martin rather than the new one, well, we're wondering as well. We've got no idea. The new one definitely looks better, but we're not really sure why Grimminger is running with the old one, but he is, and it just looks a bit old now, especially compared to this, which is the lead car. Looks a load better in my opinion, many people's opinion. Ten seconds in GTE now. It's definitely coming down at a second a lap at least, but even that might not be enough now.
I think it definitely has swayed to the favour of the Porsche chasing in terms of pace, with, well, Sven's tyres just obviously not going off the cliff, but definitely, you know, starting to walk to the edge of that. Horrible analogy, I know, but...
I see what you're saying. I do get what you mean.
They are getting there, they are quite worn. And the pace is definitely coming to the Porsche driver.
Just saw him rejoining, which is...
joining the track from, well, what looked like to be quite far off.
Yeah, well, it's quite easy to go quite far off at the hairpin, to be fair. So, we'll just see about that one. Here's one of the C-Force Racing Porsches coming up behind him. Oh, he's just going to let him through, that's quite nice. Got a lap over the car behind him though. Tiglas in the 33 is quite a long way down. One minute 17 now for the lead of the race, so he could well put a lap on everyone. Yeah.
Indeed. What are the lap times of Sven and the Porsche driver?
Oh.
Are they drastically different?
Let's go down and see. Oh, into the pit lane for Spano. He's been in again. I'm not sure who. Maybe he's had contact with Frau actually, because I did see his car not too far ahead of the Aston Martin, so maybe
when he was, yeah.
Go down to Frau now. Oh, just a bit shaky on the straights now as well.
Jesus.
Wow, fastest lap of the race for Max.
With a 1:35.5.
Yeah, that is impressive at this stage.
He's quite deep into his stint as well, being about 40 minutes in. or so, give or take, maybe 30. Just insane, the laps that he's putting in to be 2 hours in, or just under 2 hours into a stint.
Aston was kind of repeating his mistake there at the hairpin, and the race leader managed to negotiate him fairly easily.
That Aston is getting quite loving to the curves, driven by Carlos there.
Yeah.
I think he was just trying to get out of the way of Mark, to be fair there.
I don't know why we were really surprised about Mark Switzer really dominating this race, leading by 1 minute 18, because he's got 36 wins in IVRC.
How many entries does he have?
I can't remember, but I will have a quick look. But 36 wins across all categories, that is. 31 of those in the touring car category. So I'm going to have to do some quick maths here to figure this one out.
With 3 wins now, he's only got 2 wins that are, well, either in another season of WEC or in another series entirely.
That's out of 99, so that's nearly a third of the races he's entered, he's won.
He wins. And considering touring car with how many he's entered for that, that'd probably be a lot lower. So touring car's probably more like half. Just insane.
Well, nearly half, yeah. Oh, yeah, unbelievable. In touring cars, he's just got an incredible record, taking out the 2018 championship, taking out the first championship of 2019, and he's in the lead of the second championship here in 2019 as well.
They also go to Macau along with the Formula 3, I believe.
Yeah, that's the finale.
Which will be quite a hectic race. Anything will happen at that track.
Another, he participated in the Porsche Super Cup this season as well.
I was in a race with Mark in Abu Dhabi, and he started dead last in race 3 because it's reverse championship order. And I come out of the hairpin under the back straight at Abu Dhabi, and I look in my rear view, and he's behind me, and I'm second. So he went from, and there were 16 cars, so he went from 16th to 3rd in one sector. I was in disbelief at the fact I just see Mark is behind me.